Namaste, my name is Amish Tripathi and I'm the director of the Nehru Centre, London. Now, some may think of Nehru Centre as just this beautiful fine building, and it is a fine building, no doubt. We have a wonderful art gallery out here. We have an awesome auditorium on the first floor with a capacity of 100 to 120 people right here in the heart of central London in Mayfair. But the Nehru Centre is a lot more than this fine building. The Nehru Centre is also an online platform. We are available on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram and on YouTube. And so the Nehru Centre is actually wherever you want it to be. Of course, we'd love for you to come to the physical events that we organize out here when we do organize them. But do join all our online platforms as well. This is a hybrid world. We are going to have offline physical events and online events as well. So do join our online platforms and do keep giving us feedback of what you think of it. We'd love to host you out there. We'd love to hear what you think of our events, and do keep sending in your suggestions as well. We do keep imbibing and learning from the feedback that you give to us to give you programs that you guys might enjoy. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Namaste. Jai Hind.
Hi, Namaste friends. I welcome you on this very special topic which we normally hold once a year, the medicinal value of Indian spices. And my name is Professor Sharma from the University of Mauritius. And let's roll on. The spices we have in our kitchen are not an accidental entry. They are there after thousands and thousands of years of research, clinical trials, clinical observations, and then only we could really come to this particular set of spices we have in our kitchen. So, why are the spices in general and health in particular is important? Health is a sustainable development goal number 3 by United Nations for a sustainable upliftment of a general human being. So there cannot be anything more important than health. Ayurveda is an apt reply to the universal health system where everyone can be healthy without spending a fortune. As Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji has very clearly stated last year, Ayurveda is India's gift to the world. And Ayurveda works primarily through your food pipe, through your intestines, where all the metabolic foundation is laid and where spices play a very, very important role. So that is how Ayurveda dietetics is very versatile, underrated, most unique. It is very comprehensive, it is extensive, intensive, but somehow underrated, and that is where we have to explore it. We'll be discussing about what are the health benefits of curcuma, ginger, AJWAIN, cinnamon, black pepper, asafoetida, and more, along with cumin, garlic, fenugreek, fennel, coriander, mint, etc., which we'll not be covering in this particular topic. And this can be taken in the second stage, in the next next talk. We can surely cover the remaining spices as well. So spice root was known to the world around 2000 before Christ. The Indians were going to almost every part of the world with their spices, selling them, and the Indian spices were valued more than gold. For thousands of years, these spices were more valuable, black pepper, cinnamon, etc., valued more than gold. And in the discovery of these spices only, both Columbus and Vasco da Gama started their travels, where Columbus reached America, and Vasco da Gama could come to India in 1492. So spices attracted everyone for a mass trade. That is how, this is not something very new what we are talking, Indian spices, but let's discover it from the modern research perspective. What good do they hold? Ayurveda is the oldest healthcare system in the world. It could be anywhere between 3,000 to 50,000 years old. And this is more than ever before this is needed today. The manner in which we faced COVID-19, it was an eye-opener, unfortunately, not in the best manner, where we could rediscover the potential of Ayurveda, and we had to rethink about our health and can we take it for granted any longer. Ayurveda has got many unique principles which cannot be translated, which cannot be converted to any other technical, medical, scientific language. They stand alone. Uh, they are standalone like the research protocols, which lose their sheen, which lose their meaning in case we try to translate them into any other language or into any other description. And these are Tridosha, Triguna, individual constitution, what's your body type? Very, very important. We have a questionnaire for this. Then the six tastes, like sweet, sour, saline, and astringent, bitter, and pungent. These six tastes, these are driving every energy in the human body. And these six tastes only form the foundation to our food and to the spices as well. Then dietetics, Charlie, is a very, very unique principle. Ayurveda believed in specialization. And ab initio, in the very beginning, Ayurveda was written as a discourse where, like, a disciple used to discuss with one's guru, one's master. Okay, master, I have this inquiry, I have got this question, please clarify this for me. So one disciple once asked a guru, master, which is the strongest medicine in the world? And the master says, food. Food is the strongest medicine in the world, and that is where Ayurveda dietetics is very, very unique, very comprehensive, and like it has got its kind of panacea, stronger than any magical medicine. Then herbs are there, and among herbs, we'll be focusing upon spices today. Panchkarma detox is a very powerful tool. See, you maintain your car or any machine and you undertake periodic maintenance. When your car has clogged, has like done 10,000 kilometers, you take it to a service station, you get oil, etc. changed because you love your car. And you ensure that you don't overrun beyond the service period, and you maintain it in a mint condition. But unfortunately, we love our car more than we love this human body. We don't love our body that much. We do not take this to any service center, any periodic maintenance. There is no plan in place. Every machine with normal running, normal consumption, normal usage would be going into wear and tear, and we would require a periodic maintenance, and human body is no exception. So Ayurveda is a periodic maintenance protocol to get you rid of your toxins in case you don't have a disease. And this is a wonderful therapeutic protocol to treat you against the diseases you have, unfortunately, maybe big or small. So that is where Panchkarma, I'll be looking forward to seeing you once more on any of these topics like Tridosha, Triguna, or your particular body type, or dietetics, or Panchkarma. So let's see, we'll be meeting again. We go ahead to the next slide, which is what are the most basic premises for Ayurveda dietetics? Ayurveda, as I told you, it is said to be Mahabhaishaj, the biggest medicine ever known to human body. Ayurveda says you could be eating once a day if you are a really enlightened human being, like if you are a yogi, you are a rishi, you are a person, a human being of very high conscience, then you could be eating once a day just to live. A normal human being like me would be eating twice a day. So yogi eats once a day, a bhogi, a worldly person, would be eating twice a day, and a rogi means a patient would be eating thrice a day. So the third meal you are eating is actually for your doctors, and that is not for you. So be very careful. Ayurveda was very, very clear about it. Ayurveda says a normal person should be eating at around 10 o'clock in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. And that already becomes what we know these days by the term 8-hour, 16-hour intermittent fasting. This term is very, very significant. Intermittent fasting is very great when it comes to preventing diseases and treating any health condition. So intermittent fasting, one size which would fit all, most of all, is 8-hour, 16-hour intermittent fasting, as told by Ayurveda. Your first meal around 10 a.m. should be heavier than your evening meal. NCDs are rising. Health sciences are improving. They are doing so much of research. They are progressing by leaps and bounds. But unfortunately, the quality of life is falling down. Non-communicable diseases are increasing, and there is no treatment for non-communicable diseases. Again, Ayurveda told it 10,000 years back, non-communicable diseases do not come to go back. It's a one-way traffic. And every country, more than 70% of every country's health budget, diseases and death are attributed to non-communicable diseases, what we call lifestyle disorders. In contrast, communicable diseases, if we forget COVID for some time, because it was surely the biggest disaster which was unimaginable, which is a communicable disease. If we forget COVID, then actually communicable diseases are responsible for 5% of your health budget expenditure. Diseases and death, only 5%, as compared to 70% and more by non-communicable diseases. So Ayurveda says you become what you eat. Jaisa khai vaisa hoy man. So that is why we have to be very, very careful with what we eat. And why so? Because there are shared genes. A human being body and a banana share 70% of genome in common. So if you are eating a banana, no wonder it's quite possible that one of the 70% genes which I have and the banana has could be replaced. I could be having one banana gene for my particular function. In the same manner, we have got like matching genes in higher concentration with animals. And because every life, every plantation, every animal, those have got some like genomic makeup. Those can be internalized by what Ayurveda calls Bhutagni principle. So your genes is not a final word. They keep on evolving, they keep on improving, or they keep on deteriorating the way you maintain them. So never lose hope, start fresh. And Ayurveda also has got one very interesting thing to say. In Sanskrit, it means like this: the whole world is a teacher for the wise. Kritsno hi loko buddhimatam acharya, shatrusha buddhimatam. If you are not very wise, then the whole world would appear like a foe, an enemy to you. So from this very ordinary lecture, actually it's your wisdom what would bring home some real nice information and apply it in your life, and then that can be life changing. So the quality doesn't lie in me, it lies in you. What do you pick up? So the common eating, why do we fall ill in first place? Falling ill in first place, Ayurveda says, is because of pragya parada. Pragya means your intellect, your wisdom. Aparad means a mistake. When you are committing a mistake towards your intellect, that is, you know something is not good, but you cannot shun that. You cannot avoid that. And on the other hand, you know that, okay, I should be exercising, I should be jogging every day, I should be walking for 20 minutes a day. World Health Organization says 150 minutes of physical activity every week. You know this, but you cannot do this. This is called pragya parada. That is the mistakes committed knowingly, like addictions, etc. Then low agni, your low metabolism, is the foundation to almost every disease. Ayurveda says, roga sarve api mande agno. All the diseases are caused by a lowered metabolism. That is where you have to take care of your metabolic status, and that can best be done by under eating. And then the biggest cause in Kali Yuga as per Ayurveda is a tendency to hold. We want to collect a lot, we want to overeat, we want to store, we want to have a bigger bank balance, and we are into that cycle of hoarding. Maybe it could be like food or wealth or whatever. This greed actually again lays the foundation to many, many diseases. Now, this metabolism, as we are telling, Ayurveda says no disease is caused by unless there is some derangement in metabolism. Ayurveda told one shloka which goes like this: Aharam pachte shiki doshan ahar varjitah. That is, your metabolism, what we call fire, digestive fire or Agni, would be processing, would be digesting your food. In case you restrict food intake, in case you do not take food, then your toxins will be burned down. Because your metabolism requires something to combust. It is a kind of fire, it requires some fuel. Food is the first preference fuel. All the fire, all the metabolism inside your body is searching for food to be attacked and to be processed. Once there is no food and you are upon intermittent fasting, or you are fasting anyhow from some religious or cultural perspectives, then the fire has to burn something. And that something in second preference is your toxins, your obesity, your high cholesterol, your high blood sugar, your metabolic waste materials, your high blood pressure. These negative elements called toxins will be burnt down. And Professor Ohsumi just proved this and got the Nobel Prize for 2016 upon a principle called autophagy. Auto means self, phagy means eating. That is, eating oneself. Your metabolism would be eating your own diseases if you do not eat food. Now, surely, medical science is different from mathematics. So it cannot be an absolute statement that is 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. That is, if you don't eat for X number of days, all your diseases would be gone and you will end up having no disease by the end of 10 days or 1 month. No. But many diseases, most of them would surely will go into remission, would be reduced in severity, your lab parameters would improve. And that is what Professor Ohsumi proved upon a yeast model. He developed some diseases in a yeast model, saw under microscope the yeast cells were containing many disease entities called inclusion bodies, or what we can call toxins in layman's language. Then what did he do? He did nothing. He waited for 8 to 12 hours. He observed the same yeast cell under the microscope again, and what he saw was amazing. The cell organelle were eating, the vacuoles were eating the toxins, and after a few hours, toxins were cleared. That is what he called autophagy, and for this he got the Nobel Prize. Calorie restriction theory is another theory which is a very long-term ongoing medical research for last 50 years, and they have proven that lab animals lived 40% extra life when those were kept on a low diet, and 65% cancer and cardiac markers in human beings reduced after intermittent fasting for a couple of months. So intermittent fasting, how much to undereat is very, very important. How many calories should be restricted, what we call calorie restriction theory. Very interestingly, Ayurveda gave a figure for this. State has 3 matters: solid, liquid, gas. 50% of your appetite should be filled by solid food, 25% by liquids, and remaining 25% should be left empty for the Vayu movement, for the food movement, for the Vata movement. Now, the same figure, 75%, was proven by calorie restriction theory. The laboratory animals, which were given 75% of the food and not 80, 90, 100%, lived 40% extra life in that particular lifespan. Because those animals were kept in different cages, those were different sets. Some were given 10% food only till they died, then 20%, 30%, 40%, 60, 60, 70, 90, 80, all such different cages were created. And the lab animals who got between 70 to 80% of food were the healthiest and lived extra life. So intermittent fasting is a surely very, very important. More people are dying of overeating than unfortunately are dying of starvation. So that is where be very careful. And many of us are like telling that we are almost overeating every day. So we have to change this habit. What do spices do in our body? The spices stimulate Agni or metabolism, and they are directed against Vata Kapha, which are like metabolism slowdown principles, Vata and Kapha. Those are controlled, those are limited, those are decimated by Agni. Your metabolism goes up. It unclogs capillaries. This is proven. Cell membranes, it prevents and digests inclusion bodies or toxins in the cell. Very, very important. The basic pathological mechanism of any disease is one. That is, the cell membrane won't be working finely. It would be forgetting what to restrict and what to obstruct. That is what should stay in and what should stay out. The cell membrane starts losing the sense and inclusion bodies are produced. That is, some toxins which were to be thrown out, those remain inside the cells and we call them inclusion bodies in scientific medical language. And we can also know them by the term toxins in the cells for a layman, for general person. Now, these spices, by triggering your metabolism, would be preventing this inclusion of toxins in the cells. These are digestive stimulants. They are free radical scavenging and they are bioavailability enhancers. Free radical scavenging is because why do we age? So what if we are like 70, 80, 90 or 100? Why not 200? Why not 300? Because this has been observed that there is a free radical onslaught on the body which leads to like a genetic meltdown, genetic crackdown, and eventually diseases, aging and death. Now, spices have got a very good antioxidant activity. It can control many of your free radicals, what we call oxidants, and can ensure you better health and longer life. Their carminative action is again proven by aroma and taste, and they prevent biofilm formation. Now, very, very important. Bacteria and viruses are very clever, and they refuse to being killed by antibiotics and antivirals over and over again and again. What do? They, when entering the human body, they develop a film upon themselves, a kind of coating called biofilm. Now, this biofilm ensures that these cannot be eaten by white blood cells and these cannot be excellently worked upon by antibiotics. So they kind of become immortal. Now, this biofilm formation is prevented by spices, and that is again a very great scientific research and promotes us to have more spices. And there has to be access of everything cannot be good, so we cannot keep on eating a lot of spices, but we'll be coming to the figures as well. What should be the volume in the next slide? We try to cover some spices now, and I will be requesting you to type your questions for me, post them for us, and we can take them in real time. to make this session more relevant, something for you to take home, we have got one question before we go to the next slide. How can we improve our immune system by food? And is there a food that helps avoiding cancer? Yes. Improving immune system can very well be ensured by Ayurveda dietetic principles. And before asking how can we improve by eating, the first answer would be to undereat. We should not be eating. When we are overeating, most of us unfortunately do not eat by real appetite. They eat by wall clock. This is like XYZ time. Okay, it should be my lunch time. It should be my dinner time. Okay, I'm not feeling hungry, but let me eat because clock says it's lunchtime. We are valuing the wall clock more than this body clock, which is very, very unfortunate. So you should try to ensure that you eat only when you are hungry, and your immunity system would surely improve. And yes, cancer cells as well. Cancer cells in Ayurveda. Did Ayurveda know about cancers? Very well. Ayurveda has given their classification, etc. A common mechanism behind every cancer would be a lowered metabolism. That is the heating component will go down. Your metabolism would be lowered, and the cooling principles of Vata and Kapha would go up. Cooling principles Vata and Kapha eventually would would gel into something solid formation called cancer. So reducing Vata Kapha and increasing Pitta is the general principle which can be customized, which can be fine-tuned once we see someone. Okay, how can we increase your Pitta without leading to any inflammation, and how much can Vata and Kapha be reduced? So surely there are excellent provisions to boost immunity and to take care of your cancer prevention. Now, very, very important. Everyone might not be listening to cancer prevention. Okay, when I don't have a cancer, why should I be listening to all this? Actually, a wise man would be learning from others' misfortunes and others' mistakes. So no one is immune against any disease. I cannot say these diseases happen to someone else, not to me. I'm a superhuman being. We have to be prepared. Out of nowhere, it can come to us. So you have to be on a very planned, pleasing, easy, and effective cancer prevention management. And this applies to those in particular who unfortunately have or had a cancer victim. That is where, because cancer, like many other diseases, runs in genes. So if someone in the family has got a cancer, unfortunately, it could be into the genome of other family members as well. That family and that clan, that lineage has to be more careful against cancer. So we surely can have separate sessions upon immunity and cancer prevention and treatment through food that permits us. We go to the next slide, that is curcuma, haldi, which you all very well know. This is a golden, this does not only look like gold, this is a golden herb. This contains 3% curcumin in the active principle and 34 essential oils it has got. It has got proven efficacy. Clinical researchers have proven this to be effective against free radicals. That is, it is an antioxidant against diabetes, inflammation, immunosuppression, skin diseases, arthritis, all pains, cancers, peptic ulcers, and maybe whatnot. When it comes to Ayurveda, there is a question, which is the most effective medicine for pre-diabetics? Then the answer is curcuma, haldi. Autism is reported 4 times more in populations who do not consume curcuma. So curcuma consumption, haldi consumption in your daily dishes, in your curries, surely can be a very effective preventive tool against cancer and autism. And unfortunately, there is a 25 times chance in the siblings. If a couple had one autistic child, there are 25 times chances that the next child could be autistic. That is where that couple has to be more careful, has to undergo a proper panchkarma detox. They have to undergo a planned pregnancy as per Ayurveda. Daily dosage of curcuma can be 2 to 5 grams per day, and golden latte was recommended by Ministry of Ayush, what regulates Ayurveda, against COVID-19. So it is a proven antibiotic, antiviral as well. We go to the next slide. Ginger. Ginger is also from curcuma family, and they quite look alike. Ginger contains gingerols. Now this is something very interesting. Ayurveda says fresh ginger and fresh curcuma are food items, but dried haldi powder, that is dried curcuma powder, and dry ginger are medicinal, and they are way more effective than fresh curcuma or fresh ginger. So that is where, when it comes to food, you should be eating, you can eat fresh ginger and fresh curcuma, not bad at all, but the medicinal values will be way more enhanced when we consume dry forms. So Ayurveda medicines are dry. Now, very interestingly, the active principle, active phytochemical in ginger is gingerol. There is a group of gingerols. Now, when we dry, gingerols would be converted into shogols. Now, shogols are 6 times stronger than gingerols. So you can say that dry ginger is at least 6 times more potent, more effective medically than fresh ginger. Then it has got ginger on essential oils, and in all 408 phytochemicals are there in ginger. It again is a proven antioxidant, very good for neurological conditions or nerve health, heart, lungs, intestines are protected by ginger. It prevents and treats inflammations, infections, cancer, obesity, diabetes, indigestion. The list is long. So the short message is, you should be consuming more ginger and more curcuma than what you are doing, but surely should not overshoot. Like dosage for dry is 1 to 2 grams a day. You cannot be having a lot more than this because it could lead to heartburn, etc. Or up to 10 grams of fresh ginger can be taken every day. You can fine tune like your particular requirements if you are entitled to take more or less with your doctor, with your Ayurveda physicians. We are always there for you. You can anytime drop a message to a Nehru Center and we will honor that ASAP. Ginger again was recommended in Ayush Kwath against COVID-19 by the Ministry of Ayush. So ginger, tulsi, curcuma, black pepper, these all were proven, including ashwagandha, which we will not be covering today, were like magical remedial herbs against COVID-19. So messages, you should consume a bit more of ginger and curcuma. The next herb is AJWAIN or CAROM. It contains glycosides, tannins, saponins, and cumin, thyme, alkaloids, steroids, etc. It has got one oil called thymol. Thymol is a very potent anti-colic agent. Anyone having any kind of pain abdomen, it could be acidity, it could be from your liver or from kidney, or could be a pain of menstruation in females. 1 teaspoonful, 5 grams of this particular panaceal seed, AJWAIN, taken with warm water, can ensure you through thymol oil like pain and colic relaxation in maybe half an hour. So maybe this can be your emergency medicine in your kitchen. When 2 o'clock in midnight you are having pain abdomen of any origin, you can try AJWAIN first, wait for some time. If pain subsides, then you need not rush to the doctor at 2 o'clock in the midnight. But if the pain doesn't go away, then you surely should be consulting a doctor. Medical studies have proven this to be very effective against arthritis, that is joint pains, allergies, cough, diabetes, indigestion, infections, hypertension, cholesterol, then spasm, stones, epilepsy, dyspnea, liver diseases, pain, cancer, inflammations, oxidants, and whatnot. Daily doses 3 to 5 grams per day. And AJWAIN steam inhalation. You should put some AJWAIN in water, boil it, and the oils would be evaporating and you have to inhale them. This was suggested by, again, Ministry of Ayush against COVID-19. So AJWAIN also helped a lot against COVID-19. Now we go to cinnamon. It has got more than 200 active phytochemicals as cinnamaldehyde, cinnamic, and cinnamic acid, and many more, and some essential oils. Medical research has proven this to be effective against free radical damage. Cholesterol is lowered, which most of you could be knowing. Diabetes, inflammations, infections, Parkinsonism. Then against advanced glycolation end products. When you have a long-standing diabetes, then you develop some kind of glycosylation end products. Your sugar combines with the proteins, and those are this build-up material, this new association, a protein and sugar, they merge and they form a new compound which can be accumulated in your body anywhere, which might not be removed from there and can lead to cell failure and eventually organ failure. So long-term diabetes complications can also be controlled by cinnamon. Then cancers and dental conditions are very well proven. Dental conditions, every household is using cinnamon against like emergency dental pain. Daily dosage for powder would be 3 grams, and a decoction of 30 ml or tea of 200 ml can also be taken. This composes Ayush Kwath against COVID-19. The Ministry of Ayush gave this particular combination of 4 herbs, which was called Ayush Kwath, and cinnamon was one of them. I will request you to keep typing your questions, keep posting your questions, and we will be very happy to answer them in real time, so that this really makes more relevance for you, and you do not go back after listening to one talk and that's all, and it did not do any good to you. Black pepper is the king of spices. So it contains calcium, magnesium, potassium, iron, vitamin C, tannins, flavonoids, and more than 200 plus phytochemical ingredients. And everyone has got one activity or the other to deliver, making it the king of spices. This is a proven bioavailability enhancer. That is, if you consume a bit more of black pepper, it will ensure that your food is more available to your system for absorption. That is what we call bioavailability enhancers. So you need not buy any superfood, any expensive imported food. If you're taking some black pepper with your food, then your bioavailability will be enhanced, better food absorption will take place, and better cell health, better tissue health, and better overall health can be ensured. Daily dosage can be 2 to 4 grams, and this is proven to be antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-obesity, antidepressant, anti-diabetic, antimicrobial, and gastroprotective. And again, it was recommended in Ayush Kwath, as I told you. This was a combination of 4 with the cinnamon, and then ginger, black pepper, and tulsi. We go to the next slide. Many might not have seen this. Very, very common, a very strong, having super strong aroma. Everyone which might not like, but surely makes food very delicious, and very little quantity is used. The aroma is because it contains sulfur. Sulfur was the first antibiotic known to modern medical science, what they called sulfur drugs. So sulfur is a proven antibiotic, and it gives a typical fragrance to asafoetida or heme. It has got phenolic acid, calcium, iron, keratin, coumarins, and 150 other phytochemicals. It is proven against oxidants, and it is neuroprotective, very digestive, enhances memory, antispasmodic, anti-clot, because it contains coumarins which are anti-clot. So It can work like, in a way, it can work like aspirin and avoid clotting and thrombosis. And a stroke can be prevented by judicious consumption of heme asafoetida. How much? 200 to 500 grams per day per head can be a nice daily consumption by all. So if you have got a particular condition, then surely you will be seeing your doctor, discussing with us. We can fine tune what dosage would best be suitable to you. We can go to the next slide. Okay. Maybe now this is the time for us to interact and to take questions, because we are open for discussion. How good or bad chilies are for our health? Now, chilies contain very important cancer preventing phytochemicals. But surely, if you take a lot of chilies, it will directly lead to gastritis, acid peptic disorders. It can lead to heartburn. It could lead to discomfort in your upper abdomen by producing inflammation. So if you're taking in moderation, then chilies can be taste generating and can be cancer preventing at the same time. So, but again, the dosage is very, very sensitive. That is why we did not include chilies in this short list, because we have got many more spices which are more like risk free and which are more safe to be taken. But chilies, everyone has got a taste, and you surely can go ahead with it. How do I resolve IBS? I have a poor digestion, white coated tongue, and get periodic gastrointestinal pains and varied bowel movements. Okay, IBS is a very, very common problem. What happens is the intestines we are having are, the length of small intestine is 6 meters, but the surface area is 250 square meters. Just a tube 6 meters long, and the surface area is 250 square meters. Why? Because an intestine is not like this. It is not a tube like this. It is like this. You know, it goes up and down, what we call villi. Your intestine would be like this. The food passing would pass through like this, and there will be a lot of surface area for absorption. What happens in IBS is this structure would become like this. That is, these become shorter, and eventually it can become like this. Further, they are further short, and eventually it can become flat. Your absorption surface is reducing, and modern medical science believes that IBS doesn't lie in your intestine; it lies in your brain. It lies in your mind, your thoughts. That is how they end up giving you like anti-anxiety pills for IBS. But Ayurveda believes if you do not overeat, because your system, your intestine is not healthy, you cannot overload someone who is not well. You cannot overload him or her with a lot of work. Food is a work for your intestine. So when you are having IBS, or you are having indigestion, or you are having fever, the first best thing you can do to yourself is to avoid taking food. So for IBS, you have to reduce taking food first of all. And then we have got very nice medicines with which we have treated many, many cases of IBS very successfully. They are not on any medical Western tablet like a Refagut, or they are not taking steroids, they are not taking antibiotics, they are taking nothing. They left all their medicine with Ayurveda, and beautifully, even they are not taking Ayurveda medicine now. Once like they got the treatment through Panchkarma and Ayurveda medicines, now they are dependent upon no medicine. They can digest anything. So IBS, surely Ayurveda has got a reply, and when it comes to your particular personal problem, then it would be nice to like interact with more details, because Ayurveda would be requiring you to give a lot of information which can be like the foundation to deciding to your treatment. What will help metabolic syndrome? Very interesting. Metabolic syndrome is a combination of 4 diseases, and the foundation being a hampered metabolism. It's called metabolic syndrome or syndrome X. What are the 4? Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. When these 4 are available in one person, it is called a patient of syndrome X or metabolic syndrome. Now, as I told you in the beginning, Ayurveda believes all diseases, practically 100%, come from a disturbed metabolism. That is, your AGNI is low. And you have to enhance your AGNI systematically, very judiciously, and very thoughtfully. And for this AGNI enhancement, the best thing you can do is to reduce your overall food consumption. What Professor Osumi showed on under a microscope, that by not giving food, inclusion bodies were destroyed in the yeast model, and this experiment gave him a Nobel Prize. So metabolic syndrome is surely the biggest enemy we are facing. It is gripping everyone like anything, and the best approach can be to undereat and to consume a bit of more of spices. Now with metabolism or with Ayurveda dietetics, I would like to answer one query which I get from many persons, which did not show up on this particular talk. How to drink water with food? Ayurveda says drinking water before your meal is like a panacea. It's amrit, it's nectar, very helpful if you drink water before you start taking food. It works like a medicine if you take your water with your food, and it works like a poison if you take water after your food. So I would be suggesting most of you to drink some water before you start eating, eat slowly, chew well, and keep on sipping some water with your food, not a cola and not chilled water. It has to be warm water or water at room temperature, because you would be cleansing your tongue every time after every bite. You will be generating more taste. More taste means more digestive juices. Now the salivary glands, we have got 3 pairs in the mouth, and many digestive glands in our body. What the liquid these glands are producing is called Agni or digestive metabolism. Okay, what are your thoughts on drinking a glass of hot water with lemon and cinnamon every morning on an empty stomach? Is it really beneficial? Yes, this is very beneficial. So most of us should be trying, and cinnamon should surely be added if you are overweight or if you are 40 plus. But if you are normal body weight and you are under 40, then only lemon can also help. And in the same combination, if you are unfortunately a diabetic or pre-diabetic person, then in the same combination, 2 to 3 grams of curcuma can be added, which would be of enhanced value. So surely drinking water empty stomach in the morning is very useful. Yeah, any suggestions on any Ayurveda treatment for obesity? Yes. Ayurveda gave a very specific protocol for obesity. This is called Guru Aptarpan. Now you have to listen to this very carefully, because otherwise you could misinterpret. Ayurveda says a person who's overweight would be having a ferocious appetite. Appetite would be huge. One cannot tolerate being hungry. One would have to eat. And because of a bigger structure, because of obesity, every cell asking for food, one would end up eating a lot of food. Ayurveda says an overweight person, an obese person should be given more food. You should be eating more, but very important to listen, but the food should not contain a lot of calories. That is a calorie deficient food in big volume. Now, what are calorie deficient foods? Those are called negative foods. That is, the energy they take in getting digested and the energy they produce after getting digested is different. They give less energy than they take. And when they are contributing less energy and they are taking more energy in getting digested, we end up losing weight. What are those foods? The best are salads and green leafy vegetables. So you should be eating more and more of salads and green leafy vegetables with hot water, warm water. You will end up losing weight, and you should eat sufficient of them, because all those vegetables and salads would be processed by your system, and all the energy would go into processing them, and you would end up losing weight. So two things which should very strongly be avoided when you are overweight is sugar in any form and fats in any form. It could be a hidden fat, it could be an obvious fat. So butter or oil or ghee or oily seeds like dry fruits, etc., you have to be very, very careful not to consume them. I have a question from one colleague, I think. As far as intermittent fasting is concerned, what time do you recommend for the last meal of the day? One is normally recommended to follow a circadian rhythm. However, with longer days in the UK, this is not really possible. Okay. One size which would fit all, as I spoke during this talk, was 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. would suit most of you, would suit most of all. Your 10 a.m. morning meal should be bigger than your 6 p.m. meal. Another approach which was followed in India was linked to, like, we should be eating before sunset, that I'm not quoting over here, because in the Scandinavian countries you could be having sun up to like 2 o'clock in the midnight, and in the winters the sun could be down by 3 or maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So for European countries we do not go by this sun cycle. But if you fine tune, if you accommodate, if you condition your body to 10 a.m., 6 p.m., by 10 a.m. we mean between 9 to 11 in the morning and between 5 to 7 in the evening. If you can bring yourself to these two brackets, you will be enjoying the golden principles of 8-hour, 16-hour intermittent fasting. Because the second meal you are taking is after 8 hours, and again the first meal next day would come after 16 hours. So most of us can try this. If you have got a particular question, particular personal conditions, then you surely can write and we can fine tune as per your personal problem. Is chronic fatigue syndrome due to metabolic syndrome? Not exactly. Actually, chronic fatigue syndrome has got no clear explanation where does it come from. It surely is not listed in the metabolic syndrome bracket, because there, as I told you, are 4 conditions, and the 5th condition what they include is gouty arthritis. They still have not included it scientifically, like all the health fraternity has not agreed to including chronic fatigue syndrome into this platform of metabolic syndrome. But some do believe it can be a metabolic derangement. And for Ayurveda, not only chronic fatigue syndrome, every condition, practically 100% conditions are coming from some slowdown, some breakdown in the metabolic activity at a cell level or organ level or system level or wherever. So surely some do believe chronic fatigue syndrome could be of autoimmune origin. That autoimmunity is also a kind of low metabolism condition. Any advice for PCOS or hormonal imbalance? This becomes like we do have, Ayurveda has got treatments for polycystic ovarian syndrome and hormonal imbalance. This can be done. And what I have found in my private practices, my practice with my clients, is Panchakarma detox is very, very effective against all such conditions of hormonal imbalance, including this very common condition of PCOS or endometriosis, and so many hormonal conditions, because those are deep-seated. Ayurveda says hormonal conditions are deep-seated. They would be requiring a longer management period. So Panchkarma is very, very effective against such conditions. A keto diet uses fat and low no carbs, good fats and nuts. I am not sure about the keto diet. I did hear about it, but how does it work? How does it channelize, metabolize, and mobilize the body fat? And bad fat is maybe replaced by healthy fat. But surely, I never practiced keto diet. I do not know how to practice it, so I might not be the best person to answer this. Thank you very much, Archana Pradhan ma'am, and I believe this was useful for the listeners, and they could benefit from it.